Welcome to the Road to Launch podcast. I'm Katell Schmitz, creative director and co-founder of Flairée. Join me and John, my husband and business partner, as we share the behind the scenes of turning an abstract dream into an intentional product. The Road to Launch. Here we are. We're about to, maybe 2 or 3 weeks away, to launch our fine fragrance business. A business we started from scratch. So we're recording this podcast. Why do you think this is important to document? Why do you think it's going to be valuable for other people to hear the story?
Yeah, like you said, it's been 2.5, almost 3 years of building this. So it's definitely been a long time coming. Kind of the road to launch it's such a process. It's so easy to talk about like, oh, I have these goals and by the end of the year I'm going to have this thing done. And it's like, the ideas seem so simple when you come up with it. Mm-hmm. You're like, oh, we're going to make some perfumes. We're going to build a website for it and sell it. And so when you actually dig down into the details of what that means, it's just so much. And it's so many times, as you know, and as anybody who's done this knows, it's overwhelming at times. And you just got to keep going through it. So I think doing this, it's about sharing that process, and maybe people have already done this as well, and so they have their experience. But I think, even hearing other people's experience, whether you've not done it yet and you're just trying to gain some insight, or you've done it and you just want to hear the way it's gone for others, I think it's valuable. And I've listened to these kinds of podcasts before from other companies, and it's honestly, to me, it's always just super inspiring to hear, the struggles, to hear the successes, because that's real life. Mm-hmm. If everything's all positive all the time, I'm always suspect of that. Like, is that real? I don't think so. You have hard, like, it's hard to do these things. So to go through those in a detailed kind of way and to dig into the main kind of parts of building this business is cool and valuable. So what do you think?
Agree. Yeah, I think so. I think 2.5 years ago, whatever, 3 years ago, when I started thinking, oh, I'm going to do something and telling people, the first question that I would hear is, how are you going to do this? Because I think deeply we all have big dreams, and we either disqualify ourselves, well, other people could do it, I could never do it, or we think, well, this is going to be this big mountain to climb and it's going to be too much. But I think the reason why we think this way is because we don't hear enough stories of it actually happening to regular people, not the big celebrities launching another brand, but real people in real life doing this and sharing about it. Like you're saying, sharing the ups and the downs, sharing the victories and the losses, and I think seeing someone living it's the dream that they've had and actually becoming a product that you can hold and you can use is inspiring, like you're saying, and prompts other people to say, I can do it too. And I think this is why this is going to be good for people to hear it, and it's therapeutic for us too after 3 years of sharing what we've done and how it's been. And to this day, even 2 or 3 weeks away from launching, we're still dealing with some things and sharing with people. I think that's going to be pretty cool. And hopefully all of the dreamers that are sitting at home thinking, oh, I wish I could, hopefully this is going to make them feel like I know I can, even if it's going to be difficult. Right?
Yeah.
Do you feel this way?
Yeah, absolutely.
So what do you think was what surprised you the most doing this, in the positive way and in the negative way?
Yeah, well, I think you just 2.5 years ago, to get into a bit of the story, you came up, I think you had already been sitting on this idea of like, I want to launch a new business in addition to what we're already doing. Yeah. And one night I remember very distinctly, you told me you wanted to start a perfume brand or a fragrance brand. And I was like, oh, okay, that's crazy. That's a normal thing to say, just cleaning up after dinner. But then once we started talking about it, the wheel started turning right away. Yeah. And so I think the difficult part was just figuring out, okay, how do you even do that? Mm-hmm. My first instinct was, okay, we need to hire somebody who makes perfume. Like, what is that? Yeah. I don't know.
What is that? Yeah.
But then 2 seconds later, as we tend to do, the thought turned to, okay, no, how do we do that? How do we make perfume? Yeah. And so I think the biggest struggle is just learning the industry. Yeah. And that's partly why I think this road to launch has been longer, because the idea was for a brand new thing that we've never really dealt with. Yeah. Obviously, we've used, you especially, have used perfumes, but to make them and to study all of the safety components, all of the chemistry components, it's a lot. And so I think that hurdle was a lot of fun. And for anybody that knows me, I love those kind of technical, artistic hurdles, and doing that together with you, that's how we roll. That's how we work in Reverie Lane, and that's how
I'm glad you feel this way, that you're not
Flairée, so
you're just crazy and I'm just following along.
Hey, we all have moments, but I think in the end it's always the same with us. We push each other and we make really cool stuff in the end. So that's at least, yeah.
Did you feel, so when I told you I wanted to do this, did you feel like did you feel like it was impossible? Is that what's the first feeling you felt? Is this impossible, or what was the first instinct when you hear let's start something that we've never done before?
Yeah, my first instinct was let's do it. That sounds cool. Like, let's learn about it and see if it's possible, see what it's like. And, you know, I think looking into making perfumes ourselves, the first thought was, is it a feasible thing to learn? Like, what's the technical process look like? Is it just way too big of a thing, and okay, then we hire somebody or we hire a place to take our vision and manufacture it. But so I think just once we got over that, is like, this is going to be great. And that's kind of what I was saying at the beginning too. It's like, the idea is this is going to be great. It's going to be so easy. Like, let's just make some perfume and sell it. So yeah, but then reality.
Your first instinct was this is going to be easy?
Not that it was easy, but I just like, we can do this. Like, we got this, and we do, I think. But it, you don't take into account all the late nights and all the hard work and research and learning that, you're not thinking of that part of it, and that's what I was meaning. But what do you think though? Like, when I know you had been sitting on this idea already. Yeah. But when we started talking about it, when it started, becoming a real idea in the air, where did you go? Where did you kind of go there once it was bouncing back and forth between us?
I think for me, when I have an idea, it's not going to be possible. It's how it's going to be possible. So I'm thinking of it that way. So when I first, and I know we'll share the story a bit more later, but so I first had the itch to start a new business in August 2020. So I knew the hardest part would be, at the time I thought the hardest part would be finding an idea. But then by April of 2021, I had found the idea. So in my mind, I'm thinking, well, that's it. The hardest part was landing on something, because from there you can learn, you can, grow, you can take your time. And we had the benefit of not needing to make money from that new business right away. So we could take our time to learn and discover the world of perfume, the world of fine fragrances, the world of natural. I mean, there was a lot to learn. So once I got to the idea, I was not thinking, this is going to be impossible. I was just thinking, now how? So I had, but that could be a little bit of that delusion, that healthy delusion that you need to be a business, not to start things, to be a founder. Maybe that's what you need, that little kernel of craziness. I don't know. Yeah. But that's how I felt. And I think this is what I would tell people that have a dream, and especially if it's trying to create something they've never done before, is first sit down and make a list of all the things you can do. Assess, what do I bring to the table? And then from that place, you can realize, the gaps. And you can either learn or you can hire someone, whatever it is. But that's step number one. And I think that's what we did. Thankfully, we've already had a business for a decade. So there are some business things we could bring to the table. And all that we needed to learn was, all that was a lot, but had to do with the chemical world, the chemistry, which you did, obviously. So how did you feel about that? Did you feel like that was a big learning curve, or did you already have some skills that you need to just fill in? Yeah,
it was all brand new. I had never dealt with that, with any chemistry stuff. I hated chemistry in college and high school, but this isn't exactly that. It's a lot more fun. Yeah. But at the same time, it's a big part of it. Yeah. So I think just taking in and learning something new is always fun, and that's why I'd say to anybody starting too, is just like find the joy in the learning of it. Find the joy. Like, we can live so many lives if we want to. It's easy to get stuck in, like, I learned this thing when I was 18 and now I'm going to do it for the rest of my life. And and it's absolutely fine. Like, to find something you love early on and do it is great, but personally for me, I love the adventure of like getting good at this thing and then getting good at that thing and just doing it. And whether I'm actually good at it or not, it's more a matter of trying to attain a level of quality.
And nothing you learn is wasted. I think if you learn something, then you bring it. Even just the skill of knowing how to learn something. Hopefully that's what they teach you at school too, right? But so I think nothing you learn is wasted. So the more you learn things, the richer you are as a person, even if something new, because you brought a lot, what you're saying, you're both technical and artistic, so you need that to make perfume. So although you didn't know anything about making perfumes, you had all these skills already that you brought in. And same with me, it's just I've been doing branding for a decade. So just the idea of building a brand and building a business around that is not a new skill, even if this is completely different, having a digital business and then having a product-based business. But I think we've had been already developing those skills. We just had to adapt them. So if, once again, thinking of dreamers and people that have dreams and people that want to create something, there are things you already know that you can bring in. It's never truly from scratch. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I think what you brought especially was the brand knowledge, the strategy knowledge. And I think that's so key when you're starting something like this, is to have a real intention behind all of the decisions you make and a strategy behind it, and to really start there. And I think it's easy to jump ahead a bit,
like create
and want to like, let me just get it.
Okay,
why are we buying this bottle?
Yeah.
What does it do for our brand?
Yeah.
What are the types of scents we're trying to create?
Yeah.
In our initial launch. Now we've created a lot of others, just fun and trying to and learning and ideas we have, but the things we're trying to first present to the world, every decision between the brand, the products, and the way we're going to talk about things is built on intention and strategy. And I think it's so key, and that's something anybody that knows us from Murphy Lane, that's what we do there. That's our main bread and butter. So I think people looking at new ventures in that mindset, it's a huge part of it.
Yeah, you're right. I think coming up with the story that you want to tell is number one. The product will naturally just flow from that. It becomes practical, technical, whatever. But coming up with the story is what is going to make everything easy for you, because there's so many decisions to make when you're creating something, and it can get really tiring, and you can lose sight of, why do I need to make these little micro decisions that are just giving me decision fatigue? But if you go back to the vision and the story you're trying to tell, it does make it easy. It does smooth out the process a little bit, and it becomes a little less tiring, I think, and emotionally less emotion. And when you have to spend so much money too, you remember, okay, there's a reason why, especially us coming from a digital online based business. We don't spend a lot of money to run it, but then you think of a product based, like you're saying, bottle, and then you have to think box, and you have to think shipping, and you have to think all of these things. If you remember, okay, I know why we're doing this, there's a story we're trying to tell, there's a vision, there's a mission, it makes things easier.
Yeah, I think that's the big part of having decision fatigue. Whenever you're creating something new, or honestly, even in your personal life, if you're having decision fatigue, it's a sign you need to go back to your motivation, to your intention, to your strategy. And you think, okay, actually, the decision's already been made for you. You just need to go back and clarify within your intention what that decision is. And I think that's, like I said, true in personal, professional, whatever it might be. And it keeps you on the path so that you're not veering and you're doing something random. Because sometimes we'll make decisions based on our emotional state of that. We've had a rough day, so we make certain decisions based on that. You got to get past that. And that motivation and intention guides you throughout all of it.
Yeah, it's true. Because like you're saying, then you start doing random things, and then you're wasting time, you're wasting money, you're wasting energy, and you're wasting your capacity to endure the ups and the downs when you're not following the strategy, or you don't have a strategy to follow. It's just... if you're trying to build something that is going to serve you just as much as you're serving other people with it, you have to stick to that strategy. You have to come up with it and stick to it, and then follow the intentions, like you were saying. So I think that's probably why it took us so long, because we wanted to make sure it wasn't just a product, but it was a brand. There was a story. There was a heart behind it, a heartbeat behind it. And here we are, we're just almost there. It's just, I have all the feelings. I don't know about you, but I'm excited to be sharing through this podcast with other people and showing them things and telling them about the story a little deeply, and the products and the specific perfumes and fragrances that we have created. And I'm really excited for it to just be out there for people to use it. I've been wearing those fragrances every day now, and it's so very special. And I'm really excited, and I hope we can get other people excited about it too. How are you feeling?
Yeah,
I think, close.
Yeah, it's close, and I think getting from idea to finished thing in your hand, like a finished box that somebody's going to receive. Like that's,
Yeah,
it's really
so
powerful.
special.
So like, that's when, if people have ideas, like, and you have these ideas in your head, you can make it. It might take some time, some heartache, and
Yes.
some late nights, but you know, you can do it. And it's such a powerful thing to have that idea, then to see it as a physical result. And the next step is to get it out in other people's hands, and that is going to be even more powerful.
I know. I'm excited to share the different perfumes, the fragrances that we have, and tell the story behind it. The heart is just try not to be emotional about it.
Yeah,
but it's very special.
It's going to be fun. Let's go.
Exciting. Yeah.